A public service message: stay home and stay safe. What happened today? 1. UK's Johnson, improving, as he fights COVID-19 in intensive care. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson's condition is improving and he is able to sit up in bed and engage with clinical staff, Finance Minister Rishi Sunak said on Wednesday as Johnson remained in intensive care battling COVID-19. 2. WHO rejects China-centric charge after Trump criticism. World Health Organization officials on Wednesday denied that the body was China-centric, and said that the acute phase of a pandemic was not the time to cut funding, after U.S. President Donald Trump said he may put contributions on hold. 3. WHO head defends handling of coronavirus pandemic against Trump criticism. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus called for unity and a halt to politicization of the global health crisis, specifically urging China and the United States to show honest leadership. 4. Afghan government frees 100 Taliban prisoners as part of peace process. The Afghan government freed 100 Taliban prisoners on Wednesday as a first step in a peace process with the hardline Islamists, despite the group's suspension of talks on a planned prisoner exchange crucial to moving to formal talks to end years of war. 5. Pompeo says this is not the time for retribution against China over virus. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said that it is too soon to talk about the consequences for China for what U.S. officials believe is Beijing's slow reporting of the extent of the coronavirus crisis in China. Pompeo further said, "This is not the time for retribution. But it is still the time for clarity and transparency." 6. Saudi-led coalition announces ceasefire in 5-year Yemen war. The Saudi-led coalition fighting Yemen's Iran-aligned Houthis said on Wednesday it was halting military operations nationwide, in support of UN efforts to end a 5-year war that has killed over 100,000 people and spread hunger and disease. 7. Pompeo says US concurs with new findings on Syria's use of chemical weapons. A new report by the Global Chemical Weapons Watchdog is the latest addition to a large and growing body of evidence that the Syrian government uses chemical weapons against its people, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said on Wednesday. 8. Coronavirus crisis could plunge 500 million people into poverty. The report released by the Nairobi-based charity ahead of next week's International Monetary Fund (IMF) World Bank annual meeting, calculated the impact of the crisis on global poverty due to shrinking household incomes or consumption. The economic crisis that is rapidly unfolding is deeper than the 2008 global financial crisis, the report found. The estimates show that, regardless of the scenario, global poverty could increase for the first time since 1990, it said, adding that this could throw some countries back to poverty levels last seen some 3 decades ago. 9. Cyclone Harold flattens homes, brings injuries in Fiji. Cyclone Harold, its strength ranked in the highest category of 5, passed over Fiji south at about midday, leveling homes and snapping communications links in the archipelago, which has adopted curbs on movement to rein in the virus. 10. The number of confirmed infections of the novel coronavirus were reported to have exceeded 1.47 million globally and the death toll crossed 87,700. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for more What Happened Today videos.